Welcome back to Bill's Bets and Beers. I'm the host, Chad, and this is a channel where I mostly talk about Bills football, NFL in general, walk through some parlays I put in on the Monday night, Thursday night, and Sunday night football, as well as some Sunday game parlays as well, and occasionally do a tasting and rating of a tasty brew, mostly some local IPAs from the area and everything like that. But let's get going. This video, as you can tell by the title, it's going to be a very sad video. It's about covering the Bills versus Vikings post-game. It's not a great game. I was definitely not going to do a video that I was almost going to plan on doing it tomorrow, but I figured I'd do it tonight because I just want to get this done and over with at this point. Anyways, let's get into some segments. It's going to be positives from the game. Positive is first half offense. It came out strong as usual. Scored all our points pretty much for the whole game in the first two quarters. And I don't know. It's very nice that happened, and it's good to start off strong. But we have to finish the games like we were in the first half of the year. We have to actually finish what we're starting, and I mean at least getting 10 points in the second half, or something like that. That'd be perfect. That'd be a nice start. Next one is gonna be Allen's elbow injury wasn't as bad as we initially thought. He was able to throw that many times, get some nice throws in there. Obviously, it's probably still affected just by some of the throws that towards the end of the game that he was doing, but not like overly affected where he's not going to be able to throw over 50 yards and stuff like that, where he just probably has just a little bit less juice on it. I mean, some of those throws he definitely had a lot of zip on it still, so not too worrisome there. So he's still going to be good for the season, it looks. And that's all you can really hope for. I mean, that's one of the few good things from this game. Next, the run defense showed up most of the game, and definitely when it needed to. Obviously, the 80-yard run was not great, but without the 80-yard run, he was under 50 yards for the game. So you can't really complain about that, especially with Cooks. Cooks is a good back. And then on top of it, they had 2 4th-and-inches stops. I mean, that's great. That's a good thing. But I don't know. It's a positive because we're going into a game where we're facing the Browns, which they have 2 dynamic backs as well back there, and we're going to have to watch out for them. The passing is not going to be as much of a threat, so we would probably stack the box a little bit more than we did this game. And, I mean, obviously still keep... I mean, if Njoku's still out, then they still have Amari Cooper and stuff like that, so they still have weapons you have to watch out for, but they're not as good as Justin Jefferson, so... That's a positive side. So let's get into the fun part of the video. Just kidding. The negatives from this game. Also, just a reminder, if you like this content, give me a like and subscribe if you feel like it. And if you have any negative feedback, it's all welcomed. Positive feedback, welcome as well. Doesn't matter. All's the same. Negatives from this game. Our 3rd and long and fourth down defense, whatever they were doing, either it was like scheme or finishing on the plays, it just was horrible. Like, you're watching these games, and by the time you hit that 4th quarter, not that you're expecting them to get those 3rd and longs, you're just holding your breath, hoping they get it done, because all they need to do is stop these 3rd and 18s, 3rd and 11s, 3rd and 11s, 3rd and 4th. All these 3rd downs, they're over 10 yards. And they're still completing them. Plus. And they're all going to pretty much the same guy. It was either Jefferson or Hawkinson. See, you got to do something with that. That was just very frustrating. Watching that game, there's a lot of F-bombs and everything going around when that whole garbage was going on. Next up, and I'll talk about that 4th and 18 later. That's a whole other segment. Well, they're a little part of this segment. The horrible second half offense. Again, realistically, up until the last 2 minutes, we'd only scored 3 points in that second half, when we scored 24 in the first. All we had to do was get a touchdown. 7 points would have been good enough in that second half to win it. Get that touchdown. And granted, they might be a little more aggressive towards other things, but get that touchdown when we first get off into the second half, and we're money. And it's so frustrating that they can't even score a touchdown. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. It just does. Is it questionable coaching calls? Because that 4th and 2 on that 4th and 2 in the third quarter, when we're up by 10, what was it? It was 27-17. We're up by 10. Just kick that field goal. Just kick the field goal. Make it a 13-point game. That's going to put more stress on them to get more shit down the field. And guess what? When we come back, all we have to do is score a field goal to win it. There's no, we need a touchdown or a field goal to tie. There's a field goal to win. And then you put Allen in a situation where he thinks he has to force it, which he doesn't. Yes, we work it. If we don't score there, it's a 4th and 2, and they're at that yard line. Okay, cool. How about you don't throw a pick, and they get out that many yards, 30 yards? That could have been a first. They could have their 1st and 10 starting at like the 3-yard line if you just threw the ball away, or if they just would have kicked it, or if they did more running in the second half, that would have been good too. So I'm not sure if it's coming down to coaching or something in the second half. It's just not molding well after the bye week. Something changed. I don't know what it is, but something changed. Next thing, Allen extends his streak of 2+ extremely bad picks. Not something we were looking for from our star quarterback that's getting $250 million. I mean, it's I wouldn't be upset if they were like, oh man, it was a bobbled thing from the wide receiver and it got picked off. Oh, the wide receiver jumped up, didn't catch it, and he popped it up and someone caught it. Or someone tipped the ball and then it went into someone's hands. No. All these interceptions are coming down to, he's just trying to force something in there when he doesn't have to. Especially in the overtime. We had enough downs, we had the timeouts, we had the time. You don't have to force that. Use our run game. Use the dump offs to the Devin Singletary. Do something. If that's not there, just throw the ball away. Do something, because a field goal, even though a field goal is a tie, you don't want a tie. If you can just get a field goal out of that and not a pick, that's better than anything. That's better than a pick. Anything was better than a pick there. It just blows your mind that he's making these type of decisions, because this type of gameplay, it was in his earlier years, but it was mostly the plays where he was Captain Clutch, saving the games, and now it seems like he's losing. He's not the one only losing them, but he's a factor in the losing. Before, he was never the factor. He always did everything he could. Like that playoff game against the Chiefs last year, it wasn't Allen's fault that we lost that game. He didn't throw a pick at the end. He threw a touchdown to get us ahead. And then we lost by a flip of the coin. That's what happened. He got us in that area to kick the field goal and tie. It just blows your mind sometimes watching it. I mean, he put a lot of stuff on his shoulders. And I feel like he's just getting overpressured at this point, thinking that he has to make these big plays instead of just going back to the roots of just being like, get what you can. get what they're giving you at that end. It's not giving you much, but if you get 5-6 yards, then it's closer to a third down. A smaller third down, or it's a smaller second down. Less yards they can pick up for the first. Anyways, enough with that rant. I talked a little bit about this second half coaching. It just looks like we're just ignoring any possibility to make adjustments in the second half. Like, you notice they're going to Jefferson. Yeah, they did well with not having Jefferson get that ball for like 2/3 of that second half. But once it hit that fourth quarter, he was just getting balls all the time. And even in the first half, like, you're not making, like, why aren't you blanketing him? Obviously they did something in the second half to stop him from getting those catches and all that shit, and for that first quarter or so. For that first quarter and a little bit of that fourth quarter. But it's just like everything it just doesn't make sense. Like, why did they stop running the ball? We were running the ball good in the first half, but apparently they just go, you know what? Let's just go back to what we've been doing, just throwing the ball. Doing some 3-and-outs like that. Why don't we just, they stopped it a little bit. Let's just stop the run in general. And where's Hines? Why isn't he in any packages? Is he not picking up a playbook good enough? Is it just coaching not wanting to get him in yet because they don't think he's ready? Who knows? That's not the poor coaching at that point, but it just doesn't make sense why they abandoned that run, because Singletary was running well. He was getting good yards. Johnson was getting good yards. The running backs were doing well. Cooks wasn't doing bad back there either. He was cutting up the middle, doing good things, getting good yards, and it's just like everything was going well with that running approach, and just Allen throwing down the ball when he can, and then they just abandoned it and said, you know what, we're good. Let's go with what we've been doing, and that's why we got 3 points up until that last 2 minutes in that second half. Anyways, this is big to me. How did we allow Kirk Cousins, who doesn't like pressure, usually, like, he doesn't like the whole joke, he doesn't like Monday games because he doesn't do good with primetime and stuff like that. How do we let him, who doesn't like the light, who doesn't like the pressure and stuff like that, to come back 17 points and then beat us in overtime? That makes no sense to me. Our defense saved our asses so many times. It seemed like both teams didn't want to win the game at the end. Yes, our defense was stopping it, but then it's like both offenses just didn't want it, but the defenses were keeping them in the game. It was just disgusting to watch. And we can't have that. We have to show up in the second half, at least get 10 points. Because if we're getting 17 to 24 in that first half, if we get 10 to 13 points in the second half, that's putting us at 30 plus. That is good enough to win games. And if it's not, then we have to score a little bit. Just have a full 4-quarter game. That's all you ask for. And the last one, it's not the last of the bad, but of the negative, but this is the last thing I have for it, because I don't want to press myself too much tonight. Cam Lewis going to try and pick a ball against a guy like Justin Jefferson, who's also in the area. Instead of trying to defend it, he goes for the pick when it's a 4th and 18. You pick that ball off and you catch it. You know what? Good for you. You just brought the ball up 20 plus yards. It's a 4th and 18. Just knock it away. We're going to get the ball back there. Why would you pick it? The only gain from picking that is personal. It's another pick on your stat line. It's a pick to end the game. When it wasn't needed, all you had to do was go up and punch the ball out. Knock the ball out. Do something so he didn't catch the damn thing. But no, you went up like this. And yeah, I know he said that was pure personal. I should not have gone for that. That was very selfish. And it was. But that should have been talked about way before that. That should have been something right when that 4th and 18 was coming up. Or even with all these 3rd and longs and 3rd and whatevers that we had, that the defense just didn't stop. That should have been talked about, been like, hey, listen, don't be a hero, don't go for the pick, just try to knock the ball out so we can get the ball back. But I don't know what was going through his head. I get it. He's a player. He wants to pack his stat line. He wants to do this. He wants to feel good of getting the last interception of the game to close it out. I get that, but that was just a bad scenario to do that. It just seems like we've been having bad situational football when it comes down to those long 3rd downs on top of 4th downs. I mean, look, even going back to the Miami game, way back, there were some 3rd downs where it's like, how did you let Tua get out of that? How did you let Tua make that play down the field to get 20-something yards? You can't do stuff like that. You have to stop the 3rd and longs. I would be interested to see the stat line on 3rd and longs against us this game. Even just the past 5 games. Can't be good. Anyways, got a couple more spots down here to go through. Injury to insult. I do not like this category, but I put it in when we lose. Bills dropped to 3rd in the division, not 2nd. 3rd. We are behind Miami and the Jets because we have 2 losses in the division already. Not looking great for us. It is very ideal, and if we want to win this division, to win out those last 4 divisional games. Because that will put at least in the favor of us having more games than the Dolphins and the Jets, winning-wise. Even if the Dolphins go and lose one or so. If we don't get enough wins in this division, we're not going to beat them in the tiebreaker. They already beat us once. We have to beat them at home, which I think we're going to do. And I think we're going to beat the Jets at home as well. I'm not worried about that. But we have 2 games against the Patriots. We haven't seen them. And with how they're playing, we should beat them. But we haven't been playing how we usually play. And we just have to start playing better. Another thing. Allen's confidence in that post-game interview just looks not great. He's not confident in what he's doing, and that's not a good sign. I am sure that he is still confident in his ability enough to play and play well. I'm not worried about that. I just feel like when it gets in those game times, those situational football moments, I feel like he's so pressured that, especially these last couple games, throwing interceptions like that, and it's on his shoulders, and he's blaming it on him, which he is, because that's what he does, and it's just not boding well for his confidence. And a lot of times, I mean, I'm not sure if anyone golfs in here that watches this, but if you have no confidence, like you had a great drive, now you're coming up, if you're playing for money or you're just playing because you guys great drive, you're trying to get up and down, maybe get a birdie, first birdie of the year, first birdie ever. You had a solid drive, you're 30 yards from the green. If you're not comfortable over that ball to hit that 30-yard chip, you're most likely going to chunk it. Or you're going to fly the green. You have to have the confidence in your stuff. If you don't have confidence in like a 5-foot putt for an eagle or a 5-foot putt for a birdie, even for par, it doesn't matter. You're not going to hit that. Sometimes, if you don't have confidence, just to get, and then throughout the round, if you're not hitting those 5-footers and you're missing them, doing 3 putts all day, you get down towards the end and you just have to hit a 2-foot putt, 2-3-foot putt to win, not to win, but just to get to get a good score or to end the round on a good note. It's hard to do that. And imagine in like a competition where you've been missing putts, short putts, miss, and you don't know, you don't have confidence in yourself to even read that green properly. You don't have confidence in yourself to know how much pace to put on. You have to have the confidence. Confidence is key in all sports. So he needs to do something to boost his confidence, just to have a solid overall game to go forward in the season. Anyways, next one. I just called this light in the darkness because we got, even though it was not good enough to put on positives, but throughout the bad play, there was some decent stuff. The run game looked good in the first half. I mean, it wasn't good enough for me to put on positives, but it looked decent. It wasn't horrible. We were playing well. We have to stick with stuff like that. Even though it's not working all the time, we're going to put... I mean, just look at that 80-yard run. Cook was not getting any yards, really, per run, up until that 80-yard run. Did they stop running the ball? No, because they know that they have a decent enough run game where they're going to break one out every once in a while. If you don't put enough runs in there to get a breakout one, you're never going to get a breakout run. And we just never give Singletary the chance to do that. I mean, he's had good runs this game. And it's like, you're not going to give him a chance to maybe break out another one or get there for close, so it's like a smaller third down. I don't know. This doesn't make sense. But that's a good thing that he was able to do that. Epinesa and Basham, they showed up when it counted on plays. They showed up for a couple big plays. Basham got a sack. Epinesa had a good couple pass knockdowns and disruptions and tackles and stuff like that. He played very well, I think, for like at least those certain plays. I mean, I didn't watch the whole game. Like, I wasn't just focusing on him the whole game, but they played well in the absence of a group being out there. So, I mean, it's good that they showed up. They're doing their job. They're still getting paid good money to be there, but they showed up and did their job. That's the big point. That's the main point. That's the positive part of this. It's not like it wasn't good enough to be on the positives, but it's a light in the darkness. It's like, yeah, we were missing Groot, a big key player, but these players who Epinesa should be showing up more, he showed up enough. Obviously, he could have showed up more, but he showed up on a couple big plays, and that's the big thing. Same thing for Basham. He's kind of, you don't really hear anything about him because we've got Von Miller and now grouping, and it's just, he kind of got washed behind people, but he showed up and got a sack. That's good. Third one, what is this shit? There's a lot of football left to play. Be honest, there is. I mean, you got to look at that. There's a lot of football left to play. We can get our act together. All we need to do is get into the playoffs. I think we can still win this division. Like I said before, we just have to win our divisional games out. If we win the last 4 of our divisions, go 4-2 in the division, and then we have games like Chicago, definitely should win that. I mean, they're looking decent in the past couple games with the competition they're playing, but Chicago should be an easy win. Then, not easy, but it should be a win. Then you also have Detroit. That should be definitely doable. And the Bengals. That's good. That'll be interesting, but that's towards the end of the season. But if we win 2 out of 3 of those and 4 divisional games, that adds 6 games onto us. That brings us to 6 wins. That brings us to 12-5. I mean, 12. Should be 13-4, whatever it is. I'm probably missing a game, but if we can manage to only lose 2 more games throughout the rest of this year, I'm okay. I wasn't thinking the Browns. I think we're gonna win that game, but if we can do that, say we win this next game, we go 7-3. Yep, and then we win the 6, we go 13-4. At 13-4, it's going to be good enough to grab our division. Or at least get up there so you're definitely like a 5th seed at the lowest. I think we can win the division, but we need to play these last games strong and get that confidence built so when we go into that playoffs, we're not questioning anything. Oh, it's a close game. Oh, it's overtime. Oh, it's this. No, Allen's not going to question. We need to get to that point where Allen's not questioning anything and he's getting the job done. Confidence at the highest peak possible. Mount Everest high. But that's gonna be it for that topic. I got some upcoming videos I'm doing. I'm doing the normal Thursday night football game for predictions and parlays. Then I got the Bills versus the Browns preview, prediction and parlay as well. And I'm doing my Sunday night football and Sunday game parlay. I'm actually going to be at the Bills game, so I'll probably be adding in some shorts and stuff like that. Just doing some videos on my phone of some plays that are going on, just the atmosphere and everything, and maybe some pregame shit that's going on, and just adding that to my little shorts if I can. And yeah, gonna be there with my brother. Gonna be a good game, and it should be a win. But I mean, anything's possible at this point. I'm hoping we see Trey White back. But yeah, I got a couple sponsors to go through, and I'll be done with this video. Got my wife, Crochet with Alicia. You can see her on Instagram. It's Crochet with Elisha. She does a lot of hat, mittens, gloves for kids, adults. She does cardigans for kids and adults. She does pretty much everything. Dolls, anything you can think of, that blankets, anything you think of you can make with yarn, she can make. And she does all types of patterns, all types of stuff. If she doesn't know it, she can teach herself for that thing you want. So shoot her a DM if you want anything, and she'll reach out to you with a price and whatnot for the item, and a good timeline as well. Then I got my buddy Evan. He's got his channel as well. He's over at Mr_Nasty Time. It's MR_NASTYTYYME. Check him out. He does a lot of NFL videos. He does weekly power rankings for all 32 teams. Takes a couple minutes to talk about each team. It's very good, very knowledgeable content. Then he also does some UFC fights. He's done about 2 or 3 parlays on there already. He just walks through the fights, how the fighters fight. He's been watching them for 15 plus years, fighting for the same amount of time. He's been doing this for a long time. He knows pretty much everything about the sport and how most of those fighters fight, and what their strengths and what weaknesses are. So definitely check it out. And he also been changed from Twitch to that for gaming, so he's doing a lot of Modern Warfare 2 at the moment. So he's always putting some streams up probably every day or so with those. So if you're interested in the gameplay, check it out. He's really pretty good at the game, and you can see which guns to use and whatnot, and what loadouts. And then my future sponsor, hopefully, New Belgium Voodoo Ranger. Check them out. Great IPAs. They're done out of Colorado and North Carolina. And honestly, check out the Juice Force. It's 9.5%, and it tastes like a 7% beer. It doesn't seem like much, but if you're an IPA drinker, you know what I mean. But that's going to be it. And, of course, go Bills.